This week, Red Sea announced a major upgrade to their entire range of reefer aquariums. They put out an email with marketing details, uploaded a video to YouTube, and updated their website with full details, and I've condensed all that information down into one video, and it starts right now. You still get the modern rimless look with ultra clear glass and various size options to suit your space. And of course the cabinets still come in either white or black colour options. But they've made various improvements and additions to their tank that represent a significant step forward. Starting with the removable filter sock section. For years now, the first stage of filtration in a Red Sea Reefer tank has been filter socks. They simply trap uneaten food and require you to take them out and clean them every so often. But cleaning filter socks is a total pain in the backside, and there's been a trend towards automatic filter rollers in the last few years. The problem with an automatic filter roller though is that they are quite big and usually require you to remove sections of your sump, which is a real faff of a job and completely off-putting for some people. The new Red Sea Sump though has an easily removable filter sock section that means you don't need to cut any baffles, and instead you just slide a couple of panels out. Now in my opinion that's a huge step forward, and it makes the addition of an automatic filter roller completely unintimidating, particularly for new hobbyists. And that puts them well ahead of their nearest competitor, Waterbox, who have no plans to add a removable filter sock section to their sump. Red Sea have also upgraded and strengthened the cabinets, and they now say they are all made of plywood and have extra fortification. Most of the previous generation reefer cabinets were already made of plywood, but some of the older tanks like the 170 and 250 weren't, and you can't beat a solid cabinet, so that's a welcome addition. The next group of upgrades are to the plumbing, and there are some significant upgrades here that look like they will make a real difference. Firstly, all of their tanks that are 4 foot or longer have dual outlet nozzles for the return pump, which will distribute the flow from your return pump much more smoothly and will disturb your sound bed less. They've also increased the inlet size of the main drain, which they say will make it run quieter, but more to the point, they also say they've upgraded the diaphragm valve. Now the diaphragm valve on the first generation tanks was a weak point, as it was difficult to dial in really fine adjustments, but Red Sea say they've fixed that issue with a more finely adjustable valve. Now it remains to be seen whether that's actually as accurate as the gate valve that Waterbox aquariums use, but ultimately if it's better than the current diaphragm valve, I'm calling that a big win. And Red Sea say they've also made extra connections available in both imperial and metric, which will be great news for those of you across the pond, as you won't have to put up with our pesky metric fittings anymore. Although ultimately over 95% of people probably won't change their plumbing at all, so this is only for the 5% who want to customise. And there is one last change to the plumbing that Red Sea didn't mention, but did show in their video, and that is the colour of the plumbing, which is now red. The first generation reefer range has grey plumbing, which is nowhere near as sexy as red pipes. Now of course it won't affect the performance of the plumbing, but it doesn't half look good in the sump, and I bet that will appeal to a number of people who like a bit of bling in their sump. And finally, the Gen 3 tanks will come with a 3-year warranty with the option to purchase either an extra 1 or 2 years. Now there's no word on pricing for the extended warranty, but I wouldn't mind betting most first-time aquarists will upgrade within the 3 years, so that's a solid bit of peace of mind. Now there's no word on the release date, and the marketing materials just say coming soon, but I'd expect these aquariums to be hitting the shops in the next couple of months, so certainly by the summer of 2022. However, before you rush out and place your pre-order, all of these upgrades do of course come at a price. And across the board, the Gen 2 reefer tanks are roughly 10% more expensive than the first generation tank. The first generation tanks are still showing as available online and will of course be in shops, so if you want the cheaper version you can grab them now, and I wouldn't mind betting some shops will be doing clearance sales closer to the time of the new release. Now apart from the upgrades I've mentioned, the sump is otherwise unchanged, which is very much a good thing. In my opinion, the Red Sea Reefer sumps make much better use of the available space than do the Waterbox sumps. And crucially, they almost all have a dedicated section for a refugium, which of course is a really popular option for filtration. Now I own tanks from both Red Sea and Waterbox, and I've done a comparison video telling you about the differences between the two, which I'll link at the top of the screen. Now I did have a couple of grumbles about the Red Sea tanks, but they appear to have fixed the main issues with this upgrade. And crucially, there is now a removable filter sock section, and they seem to have improved the downflow valve, which should mean you can keep your tank running silently much more easily in the long term. Now I did look at the spare parts section of the Red Sea website to see if the new plumbing is backwards compatible with the old tanks, so you can simply swap out and upgrade if you've got the old diaphragm valve. But perhaps unsurprisingly, there's no spare parts showing for the new tanks as yet, so you'll have to watch this space to find out. And while I said at the start that this applies to the entire reefer range, there are 2 tanks that remain unchanged. They are the Peninsula 500 and the Peninsula 650. Now those tanks are the newest of the first generation range anyway, so they benefit from certain iterative upgrades over the very first generation of Red Sea Reefer tanks. And there's no word yet on if and when those tanks will be upgraded to Gen 2, so for now if you absolutely have to have a Peninsula tank, you're stuck with the first generation, but I can tell you from personal experience that's no bad thing, and I absolutely love mine. So that is my entire summary of the Gen 2 Red Sea Reefer range. Now I think there are some significant steps forward that represent good value for money, but I'd love to know what you guys think, so let me know in the comment section below, and if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for next week, and until next time, happy reefing.